U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth arrives in South Korea. It's the latest leg in a wider tour of Asia aimed at reinforcing U.S. security commitments in the region. Over 2 days, he'll meet with South Korea's defense minister and visit the demilitarized zone, the area separating South and North Korea. Washington and Seoul are concerned about the North, but the U.S. also has its eye on China. In particular, Beijing's threats against Taiwan and its push to assert its claims in the South China Sea, ignoring an international court ruling that's rejected them. The U.S. also hopes to convince Seoul to continue to garrison U.S. troops on Korean soil, ready to intervene if a conflict breaks out. The South China Sea has been a particular focus of Hegseth's tour so far. Taiwan, Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, and Brunei all claim parts of the sea. But China has used its Coast Guard to back up its claims, sometimes forcefully. And so, the U.S. has been getting closer to some of the counter-claimants, like Vietnam, where on Sunday, Hegseth had this to say.
The Trump administration supports a strong and independent Vietnam as a mutually beneficial partner. So we want to expand our partnership together and work to advance our shared interests.
With China in the background, the U.S. is starting to supply Vietnam with military hardware, and Vietnam hopes more will come, easing a reliance on Russia for arms.
The U.S. Secretary of War's visit to Vietnam holds significant importance, coinciding with the 30th anniversary of diplomatic relations and reinforcing the comprehensive strategic partnership for peace, cooperation, and sustainable development, as well as deepening bilateral defense ties between the two countries.
But the United States isn't the only country with an eye on China and the Indo-Pacific. Canada's defense minister is in the region too. He's just signed a pact with the Philippines to boost defense cooperation Sunday. Under the pact, the two countries' troops will be able to train on each other's soil. It's the first agreement of its kind Canada signed with a partner in the region. And it further boosts Canada's long support for the Philippines' position against Chinese claims in the South China Sea, as well as Canadian support for a rules-based international order.
That peace is built on rules, not recklessness, and that stability grows from cooperation, not confrontation. The Philippines has shown true leadership in upholding international law and in seeking the peaceful resolution of disputes. And for that, you have Canada's greatest and deepest respect.
This is the fifth such pact the Philippines has signed, and its defense minister is pleased with the outcome.
This agreement converges all these interests into one of the most important projections of trust and confidence between nations, that our armed forces and defense establishments can converge, can work together, not only bilaterally, but with other like-minded partners to preserve and enforce peace and stability.
Faced with an increasingly assertive China just off its coast, Manila wants more such pacts, specifically with France and the UK. It was only Saturday that ASEAN defense chiefs and partners like the US and China issued a joint statement calling for collaboration for peace in the region. But US and Canadian moves suggest the political fault lines under the Asia-Pacific region aren't going away anytime soon. Andy Hsueh and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.